Good to go. All right, welcome everyone to Town of Manlius Board Meeting, another Zoom meeting this evening. And before we get started, let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under
God,
God,
Indivisible.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we get on to item 2, I'd like to have everyone introduce themselves on the board. First, we'll begin.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bollinger, Town Councilor.
John Deere, Town Councilor.
Elaine Denton, Town Councilor.
Karen Green, Deputy Supervisor.
Caitlin Creasel, Town Councilor.
Hi, I'm Heather Waters, Town Councilor.
And I've been Theobald, Town Supervisor. And with us this evening, unfortunately, Randy could not be here tonight, our Code Enforcement Officer, but we do have Chief Mike Kroll with us this evening. Rob Cushing, our Highway Superintendent. Tim Ferteski, Town Attorney. We have Doug Miller. Are you here, Doug? Yep, there he is. Our Town Engineer. Ann Oot. There's Ann, our Town Manager, and Allison Weber, Town Clerk. Welcome, everyone. So we can begin with item 2 of the minutes of October 14th.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 14th meeting.
I'll second. This is Sarah.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Opposed and carried. Very good. Next item is the abstract number 20.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the abstract number 20 for $284,257.43.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, opposed and carried. All right, we had planned the next minute, the continuation of the public hearing for the commercial zoning classification changes. Sarah, do you just want to give us a brief overview and update where we are with that?
Yes, thank you. So thank you to the residents who took the time to respond to the previous round. We do actually have a few changes to make. And so we are going to continue this public hearing for another week. Just to remind the listeners that our meeting is off schedule for November. So we'll be meeting actually next week, not 2. And to ask you, if you are interested in this issue, to go to our website on November 3rd or 4th and see the updated document so that you can read it prior to the close of the public hearing on the 4th. Thank you.
Very good. And thank you for mentioning that too, that our next board meeting will actually, because of the Thanksgiving holidays, we moved it around in November. So our next board meeting will be next Wednesday, November 4th at 6:30. The next item is the public hearing for the preliminary budget.
And we should see if there's anybody who wanted to speak at the public hearing that we adjourned.
Sure.
So there's nobody. Okay, very good. Thanks, Allison.
Thanks for that.
Sorry about that, Ed.
I forgot to ask that. Okay. All right. Yeah, as I was mentioning, we'll begin the public hearing for the preliminary budget shortly. Just as an overview, we're into phase 2 of the budget. Our first phase was the tentative budget that I had put together. And then the finance committee met and we tackled the tentative budget and we made some adjustments and changes, which we discussed, I think, briefly at the last board meeting. And so now we're ready to go with the public hearing on the preliminary budget, which Sarah will begin going over a PowerPoint presentation of where we are with the preliminary budget. Once we're done with that, then we'll open up the public. Well, we'll waive the reading of the notice, and then we'll open up the public hearing. So, Sarah, if you'd like to begin.
So you're at. All right, excuse me, I have to share screen somehow.
Yeah, I could hold this up and we could. like,
I apologize, people. You've just all disappeared. Elaine, can you share screen?
Hold on
'Cause I've lost you guys.
1 second.
Sarah, you may have to get out and get back in again.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Thank you for saying that. There we are. Okay, found you.
You want me to try?
I got it.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Almost. There, that's it. Okay.
Now, does it look right to you guys now?
Yeah, that's good.
So thank you all. And I want to thank Caitlin Kriesel and Elaine Denton for their assistance. And of course, Ann Oot and Supervisor Theobald for helping with the budget development. So we want, this is, as Mr. Supervisor said, this was the preliminary budget. And the main thing to understand about the way that the town budget is built is that we have two different taxing entities. The full town, townwide, which are the A funds, and the part town, which are the B funds. The part town do not include people in the villages. So it's important to understand that the townwide has 14,360 parcels, whereas the part town has 9,572 parcels. Another aspect is special districts. So people who are special districts are also taxing entities. And the special districts, some of them are large. For example, the trash district has 6,539 parcels in it, where some are very small. The smallest is the Watervale Water District with only 7 parcels in it. So each parcel is actually some combination of being either full-time or part-time, and whichever districts it's in. So not too many parcels have the exact same taxes. One of the drivers of cost, which I'm sure you've heard in previous years as well, has been health insurance. I'm sure that this impacts many of you at your firms as well. The health insurance estimate for 2021 is $2,369,531. So that's a very large number, and it's just been trending up, as you can see, even though the inflation rate for everything else has been low. This is a little bit more complicated, but I think that this gives you the overall idea of where our money comes from. These are our different revenue sources, and property taxes is obviously the largest. We also have revenue from both the ESM and the FM school districts, which contract for school resource officers. We also have something called a franchise fee, which is paid by utilities, primarily Charter Spectrum, for the right to use to put their poles and wires in our right of way. Onondaga County pays Manlius to plow 12 miles of their road. For this year, state aid is questionable. We're not really sure, because of the situation in New York State, how much of the money that we traditionally get will actually come. But right now we have budgeted for the CHIPS money, which is for paving, but we have not budgeted for the winter severity, which is extra snow plowing. We have also funded, the police department gets a few small grants from the state. We haven't heard that they won't be renewed, so we are including that. But we have not included AIM fund, which stands for AIM and Incentives for Municipalities. We are thinking that we're going to get some AIM fund for 2020, but the 2021 fund is questionable. So we thought it's safer just to not budget for it. And if we get it, that would be nice. Mortgage tax is going up a little bit due to the reflects the real estate activity in the town, which has been very brisk lately. And then the last one is called appropriations. And these are funds that the town has saved up at previous years and that we are planning to apply to expenses in 2021. So where do we spend this money? The town-wide budget is the bigger half, as you can see. and that this is expended on the services that serve everybody in the town, the towns and the villages. So you can see by the breakup here of where some of the bigger money goes. The police is one of the larger sections, and health insurance is one of the larger sections, and highway is one of the larger sections. So that you can see those are pretty typical of where money would go. The town budgeted for a 2.5% salary increase for all employees. This is consistent with the negotiated arrangements we already had with the police and highway unions. Employee retirement, health insurance, and other budget benefits are largely out of control. We do bid out for insurance coverage, but nobody seems to ever go down in price. The budget does include some funds to improve communication with residents through enhancements on our website, something called Civil Space we're hoping to invest in. We're planning to maybe add a quarterly newsletter, increase some social media content, and add microphones in the boardroom, so that when we do return to the boardroom, people can hear what we're saying. We also want to let you know of a recent development that Okra is charging a new tipping fee for recycling, so the costs for residents in the trash district will go up in 2021. At this point, we're hearing that solid waste will go up $5, and the new fee for recycling will be $34 per household. So that is a change that we just have to include in the budget. We can't do anything about that. The part-time budget is much smaller. And in 2021, we have added one new expense to this area, and that's $50,000 for a professional to assist with the comprehensive land use planning. So this will be a project that I know we've been talking about all year, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but we did release a request for information letters to start this process with a professional planner. So one of the things we wanted to have this opportunity to open up for public comment is that the town residents are paying for top-notch services for their police, highway, fire, and EMS, just like we do for our two great schools. So the question is this how you want to be spending your money? Because this is what you are spending your money on. And we just want to make sure people express their opinions with regard to whether these are the services that they want to maintain. The assessment is what sets is what we have to use to calculate the tax rate. And the assessment did go up about 4% between 2020 and 2021. This is based on the value of your property on March 1st, before the public health emergency happened. So all of this is based on whatever the property was valued on, how the property was valued on in March. And so there's no impact on assessment with the COVID-19 crisis. So I think it's important for people to understand that. There was a small increase in the number of parcels, and there was some uptick in the value of most properties because, as some of you know, real estate's just been really hot lately, so the sales were higher. It's interesting, I did look back, and the percentage of properties that are in each of the three villages and the town remain pretty consistent from year to year. So it's not that one village is getting bigger or smaller, or that the town is getting bigger or smaller. We're all kind of growing at the same pace. So the tax rate is calculated based on, that would be applied to the value of your home based on what the expenses are that we project to have this year. The New York State property tax levy growth for government, which we sometimes talk about as the 2% cap, is not actually 2%. It's calculated differently each year. And this year it's $1.56. So it is quite constraining. We also want to point out that all full-time town employees participate in the New York State retirement program, over which we have no control. And that we are bound to the annual salary increases for the highway and police department, which are the majority of our town employees. So we're not bound to give our town hall employees the same raise, but it just seems like good management to do so. So this is an example of a tax rate calculation for a home valued at $200,000. We would estimate that your town tax would be $964.90 if you live outside a village, and $733.94 if you live inside a village. But as you know, if you live inside a village, you'll also pay a village tax. We wanted to point out, however, that almost no one will get this exact bill in the mail because almost everyone is in a special district of some sort. And so you will have some additional fees in addition to this that would be, that would be on. So your tax bill will not be this exact number, but I can't tell you what your exact tax bill will be. And with that, we would like to turn it back over to Mr. Supervisor for comments from the board and then open the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Very well done. I think you hit on all the key areas. Some of the points that I just want to reference here, and I'm sure if Caitlin, who's on the Finance Committee, may want to add, or any of you on the board, of course. One of the things that we've done, we use some of our fund balance to help bear some of the costs here of certain expenditures. I had increased what we had for the A fund. I just use that for example, by about 15 grand. And then when we did the preliminary, we increased it another 55,000. Now, the thought process behind that was, and as Sarah mentioned, the AIM funds, or the AIM that we get from the state is not definite, of course, for 2021. We get approximately 110,000 from them. I've talked to our executive director at the Association of Towns. He said, well, maybe you'll get 50, maybe you'll get, So what we did was that was where the 55,000, sort of a cushion that we decided to use from the fund balance to help offset that. So if we do get the 110,000 next year, then of course that 55 would be credited back to the budget fund balance. We wouldn't need to use that. So in the other ones, we touched on the B, DA, and DB. We increased B and we from last year, and also DA, but we did not increase DB, and those are all different categories that Sarah touched on. The other thing that we have to be aware of is we have some new projects this year. Over the next 3 years, we're looking at a new comprehensive plan, which Heather is spearheading, and that could be costly. We could be looking at 150,000 for that. So we broke that out into a 3-year phase time frame. Is that number exact? We did the best we could to calculate what we could. We also are looking at a new communications director, and maybe 20,000. We worked with that as well, and we have the special districts that we need to deal with. For the fire protection district in Fayetteville, for example, I'm not to pick on them, but they did not get the revenue that they thought they were going to get this year because of they closed down the urgent care, and that their increase was around 8%. They had lost 200,000 in revenue that they were counting on. So that was difficult. As Sarah mentioned, health insurance increased 11% for next year. We're looking at 8% for our commercial, and of course the unfunded mandates, which is the New York State retirement. We can't really control that. The market does have an effect on that. The better the market, the less we have to come up with, so who knows at this point. So just to, again, summarize, I think that just speculating a little bit, we need to reduce expenditures where we can between now and we do the final budget, possibly use more fund balance if we need to. If we really want to stay below the tax cap, it's going to be a challenge this year to do that. But I have all the confidence that we can we can do our best to get that where it's supposed to be. As Sarah did mention, compared to last year's preliminary, it is a little lower as far as the tax rate goes. again, a little more fund balance helped adjust that too. So it's still a work in progress. We still have a lot of work to do. But again, I just wanted to summarize a few things before we open up the public hearing in case anyone had some questions on Sarah's presentation and any particular details. If the board, do you have anything you want to add before we open it up? Anybody?
I'd like to just emphasize one thing that one of the things that we hear a lot in the town of Manlius is like our taxes are so high, and it's very convoluted and confusing when you get your tax bill to understand how it's broken out. And so one of the things that we can discuss as we continue going through the budget process is perhaps breaking out an example of a tax bill that you've got. If for me, I live in the village of Manlius and I pay village taxes, town taxes, and taxes to the school district, to Fayetteville Manlius School District. So when I have my tax bills coming to me and I total all of those things up, it can be very confusing to understand really how much you pay. And so it feels like a lot, and it is a lot to pay taxes on this side of town, but not very much of that actually goes to the town itself. It's going to all these other entities that we are helping to collect taxes for, but that never come into an account that we are able to pay out of. So when we're balancing the budget, there's not that much wiggle room. Like there's really not a lot. It was striking to me how difficult it was to actually pay very much money at all towards the things that we wanted to spend money on. So as the supervisor mentioned, the pension fund, the health insurance, our police and fire departments, all of those things are very, very expensive, and they take up a lot of the money. We're not left with very much. So don't think that just because you pay a lot in taxes that the town is just like flush with cash, because it's not true. And that's one thing I've learned being on the board. One, that it is so complicated. It takes being on the committee and spending hours in meetings and having the opportunities to ask all these questions to really gain an understanding of it. So hopefully residents can understand that we're doing the best we can with what we have, which at the end of the day actually isn't as much as one might assume that it might be.
Thank you, Caitlin. And I think you forgot the county too. We get
right. Yeah. All right. I was trying to list everyone I could think of. Yeah. We collect it and you pay it and it comes to us and then we just immediately send it to the county. So it's not ours. If it were, we would be able to do lots of cool stuff, but we're trying to keep taxes. We don't want to be the government that raised your taxes. We really want to make it affordable for everyone to live in the town of Manlius. So we try to do that, and we're working our best now to stand under that tax cap. But when you get a big tax bill, it's not all coming to us. Not at all.
Right. Very good. Well put. Anyone else have anything they want to add?
I'll just say thank you for the putting together the visuals on this and talking through how the community might want to, parse through the data and the presentation of it. I thought it was really very helpful and speaks to exactly what you just said, Caitlin, this idea that we are looking to provide clarity about what is what, because we trust that if people understand and have a way to access these details visually as much as possible too, not just parsing through reports and hearing us talk, but actually see some of these things too, we will get better feedback and we'll get more input from folks too. It's hard to manage the things that are just sort of dictums, and I think our communication and collaboration with our intermunicipal partners is going to be more and more important as we go through the next couple of years, given the pressures on the economy broadly, but also for the state economy and the county economy. So I think our efforts for planning, but also for communication will do really well. And this is a call that I'm making to other electeds and other institutional partners to join us in that. And they've been very responsive already, but I think we can keep working on that. Thank you.
Very good, Heather. Anyone else? before we move on? Okay,
Just to note that this presentation will be available on the website after this meeting to share with anybody who was not able to be present today.
and the detailed report is also, I think it's been on the web page as well. Allison, correct? Yep. I mean, that's really getting into the weeds if you really want to see the line by line type thing. And it was important, though, I think, Sarah, that you had broken it out like this. We try to do this every year to try to make it a little easier for everyone to understand. So with that, if we're ready, I'd like to have a motion to waive the reading of the public notice.
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, I just wanted to say one thing. I was muted. I tried to get back on.
Oh, sorry.
I certainly want to thank all the department heads for working so hard on this budget. It's getting more and more difficult, and the allegiance they all have to the town and their departments is commendable. And, they make the process less difficult because we know we can depend on them, and they'll work hard for their fiscal responsibility.
Yes, thank you, Karen. And yeah, they do work hard. We meet with them individually with each liaison before I start, and then they meet with all of us as we have done in the past. And we keep going back to them when we need to look at other items that might make some changes. So it's a continuous work in progress with each department cooperating tremendously with us. So again, if anyone else, then we can make that motion to waive the reading of the public notice.
I would second that.
You have to make it, Sarah.
I thought Karen made it.
Oh, yeah, I'll make it definitely to make a motion to waive the public hearing. Sarah, just second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. And now I need a motion to open up the public hearing.
I make a motion to open the public hearing for the preliminary 2021 budget.
And I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carried. So as we wait, because I know it takes some time to hear from people, but as we wait, I'll mention, I think we're all in agreement since our next meeting is next Wednesday anyway, we will keep this public hearing open. So through so everyone can continue to add anything they'd like to any comments or questions that they have on the budget. So, Allison, are you doing Facebook or John? Are you? Who's?
Facebook isn't reliable anymore in terms of the commenting. So we're relied for the past few meetings pretty strictly on the people in the room. Plus, we launched our new Facebook page, so I don't see any comments. We do have 3 people in the room, one of which is Debbie. So I think you're probably okay to close.
Sure. Well, we can make a motion to extend it. I think is that
or
all?
adjourn. I'm sorry. Yes, to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing to November 4th.
And I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. All right. So, we have to give people time to, take all that in, Sarah, that you put together. That and really, that was you and Elaine. I know you did that together as far as the graphics, and that was excellent.
Yeah, thank you, Elaine, for putting that together, and Sarah for getting her all the data. And thank you, Anne, for working so painstakingly on all of this. Much appreciated to everyone that's helped to bring this together. This is what we're here for, right? If we're not doing the budget, what are we doing?
Right. Yeah, this is the time of year. And we are working on having a finance committee on Friday. So I think that's starting to come together too.
Yeah, I think it's on the calendar for 11. So I think that's done.
Perfect. Yep. All right. So with that, let's move on to the proposed, make sure I'm not skipping over. Okay, that was 5. So now we'll move on to 6, the proposed fire hydrants on Enders Road. Rod or Doug, who would like to just give an overview of that?
Sure. There's a Mr. Van Wee at 4650 Enders Road has requested the Water Authority to extend public water down to his house. He's on the corner of Kimball and Enders Road. He's going to pay for the extension. It's a couple hundred feet. As part of that extension, there's a fire hydrant associated with that. And what the Water Authority is asking for here is for the town board to authorize the supervisor to accept that hydrant and the annual fees of $73.04 that would be applied to the district once the capital expenditure is paid for by Mr. Van Wee. So pretty straightforward. We've done it before, and it would become a district cost.
Okay. Any questions, board, on this? I know you've had a chance to review this, I think.
No, I think it looks like a good deal. I'd like to make a motion to approve the supervisor to sign the letter to Aqua.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Very good. Okay, and moving right along here. Rob, you're up already. How do you like that, huh? Right,
Look at that.
highway superintendent.
Real quick, I actually don't have much tonight. I just want to make mention, I want to do a shout out for my guys. Just last Friday, we were actually paving. We put close to 300 ton down last Friday. So with that being said, just about all of our trucks are ready to plow snow here. When I say just, we're a few short here, but you know, we're certainly out there working, and I want to make sure that I shout out to my guys. They it's every year it seems, you just go right to the deadline of the paving season, and then you're trying to put trucks together and hurry to get them done. So they certainly earn their money this week, and I want to just thank those guys for what they do.
Thank you, Rob. And I'm sure we still have a couple of Indian summers yet that we'll be seeing before the snow stays.
I hope you're right, Ed.
I want to explain that it's the same truck. Like, I don't know that people realize that you actually.
It is. You're exactly right. Yeah, I mean, the dump body comes off, the plow hitches all get put on, the sanders get put on. So it's a lot. It's I guess for us, who does it on a yearly basis, people don't realize we don't have two fleets. They're the same trucks. We just have to change them all over to winter now. The unfortunate part is we're done paving now. So I guess we've got a couple little driveway things we're going to do. We've got a spare truck that we use for that. But thank you, sir, for pointing that out. I guess I've been doing this so long, if people, you take it for granted, people think that you know what I mean? But you're right.
Rob, I want to see a time-lapse photography opportunity. You all hear me okay? A time-lapse photography opportunity of the transition. So you're set up and you can see it happen in real time.
I should do that one year. We started surprisingly back in the middle of September. We started pulling our hill trucks down, our trucks up in the upper part of the town. So we have one or two ready. But then when you get a call like this, where there's a good chance that there could be snow here in the Syracuse area, that we have to kind of hurry things along to get them put together. And it'll be over the next couple of weeks. We'll get all the bugs out and try and get everything going. So, but again, it's important for me just to make sure that I acknowledge the guys. You know what I mean? Sometimes they get left out, and they really do work hard for the residents. And I just want everyone to know that I certainly appreciate it, and I know the board does also. So thank you, guys.
Indeed.
Although I didn't know if I saw a plow on your truck yet or not. I don't know.
It'll be on probably before the weekend.
Rob, are you suggesting or implying that it's going to be snowy on Halloween this year?
Actually, they're saying Halloween's good. Sunday night into Monday now is the better chance, from what I'm
understanding.
Good. Now, I'm not a meteorologist, but a lot of people think that I am.
I feel like you've got a better read on the weather than probably your average person.
I think we're just a little bit more prepared for what we have to do. Those guys can be wrong better than I can.
Very good. Thank you, Rob. And I know Randy's not available tonight. He didn't really have anything. Doug, I didn't know if you had anything that you could think of.
No, I think we're all set.
Okay, very good. All right, Attorney Fortesky. Tim, I think you have a couple of items tonight.
Yeah, I have one of the things that I want to kind of briefly discuss is the pilot agreement for a couple of solar projects that we have. I know I sent it on to Caitlin, and Caitlin and I have been talking about it. I'll present it at the board meeting next week. But we've been given basically the standard pilot payment for both the Green Lakes Road project and the North Eagle Village, North Eagle Road project. And, or is that South Eagle?
North Eagle.
North Eagle, okay. So I just want to, I want to know, I've checked with other municipalities to see where their pilots are, and they're very similar to the one that was provided to us. So I will present that next week. Caitlin, if you have any comments or if you have found out anything, just let me know.
I have found out things. I will let you
Okay.
know what they are.
All right, thank you. And the only other thing I have is that we need to go into executive session to discuss 2 litigation matters. It could be a relatively short executive session.
All right, very good. Thank you, Tim. Let's see. Allison, I think you had something tonight? No, you don't have anything. Okay, I thought you did. You're good. Chief, what do you have for us this evening?
Excuse me, just a few items. We finished up our October in-service training this month. Today was our last day of training for the month of October. That was our annual firearms qualification course. Gearing up for Halloween. Don't expect there's going to be a lot of traffic out there due to COVID, but we'll still be prepared to handle whatever comes our way. Continue to serve as one of 5 co-chair members for the District Attorney's Law Enforcement Reform process. And our meetings are still plugging along, great ideas coming up, and hopefully soon we'll be prepared to offer a draft form of a countywide law enforcement reform initiative. And then lastly, I'm happily reporting to the board that this morning we had our exit interview for our CALIA accreditation process. If the community is not aware, your police department's accredited by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, only one of 5 law enforcement agencies in the entire state of New York. And we go through a reaccreditation process every 4 years. And we just completed that process this morning. And I'm happy to say that the lead assessor, which was a retired chief out of Georgia, indicated that he found absolutely 0 errors in the police department accreditation process. I'm real proud of that. So I'd like to be able to just say thank you to all of the members of the police department for making that come together. And they worked so hard to make sure that you have the best police department in Onondaga County for sure, and maybe even the state of New York. So they gave us an exemplary review, and once that review goes to the commission, I will report to the board if and when we receive our reaccreditation award.
Very good, Chief. In fact, I had a phone interview with one of the lead assessors. It was interesting. I had a number of bullet points to hit on and regarding the police department, and and he just well, that was I wasn't aware of a few of those things. He was quite surprised at how long we've been doing this and the top notch awards that we've received over the year, the meritorious reward, along with the can't remember right now, but it's some highly leveled awards that we've received. So and then he said he was going out to talk to Dr. Tice. So I brought him up to speed on that too, resource officers and SPOs. So I think Karen, you had an individual call as well with someone.
I did. Yes, we had a wonderful conversation, and it was, I think, a little eye opener that we have the Police Citizens Academy and the CRC. So we had a great discussion about both of those entities taking place within our police department, as well as the community policing that we do here. But this accreditation is substantial in many ways, and we have been privileged to hold this accreditation since 1996. So I wish the chief and his department all the best in their continued success.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Chief. And Ann, do you have anything for us tonight? No, nothing on the budget. Yeah, I know, we covered enough. All right, and we can now the board And like I said, I'm going to try to go around the table as if we were in the boardroom. So we're going to start with Heather tonight. Heather, what do you have for us this evening? You're muted. There you go.
Thank you. There we go. I just got unmuted. Well, I wanted to say that we were sorry that we had to postpone our listening session for our history. But we will be closing in on a new date, which we believe will be very early December shortly. And we still have planned November 22nd, Sunday from 3 to 4:30 p.m., a conversation about our economy, which will feature our colleagues from the Greater Manlius Chamber of Commerce, and also Randy Wolken from the Manufacturing Association. So there's a longer name for the Manufacturing Association, so apologies. We can put that into the notes. And I want to thank Sarah very much for her partnership on these as well. I'd also like to report from the Tree Commission that we're really excited, and we will be releasing a press release about this, but we were awarded, the town of Manlius was awarded a grant to plant a new grove of trees in partnership with the village of Manlius to restore damage from emerald ash borer. And we're going to be planting 2 snow-capped Japanese lilacs and 2 Musashino zelkovas. Those are, I had to look them up. Those are those beautiful trees that are a little bit more narrow that go up. But both of these trees will be taking place of the 3 diseased ash trees that were removed from the triangular island at Route 92 and Highbridge Road and Route 257 and Fayette Street. So that triangle right at the village of Manlius's gateway. And this grant comes from the New York State Urban Forestry Council Tree City USA Reward Grant Program. And it's collaboration. We, talk about in the town, we've talked about this with Rob and our tree commission. It's hard to find the right areas to plant. We've planted on school grounds. We have limited areas that are just the town. So it really is important for us to collaborate. And we were lucky to have the partnership of the village of Manlius because along with trustee Jenna Zabdo-Rott and of course the head of DPW at Village of Manlius, Chris Sherwood, and the blessing of Mayor Worrell and the beautification and planning committees within the village, we are able to help solve a problem, especially when they have a brand new tenant coming into the old Bank of America building, Cafe Kubal. So the trees are actually going to be placed in a way where they require access on a right of way that's or an easement that is the Cafe Kubal's space too. So you'll be sitting outdoors at the tables there and enjoying these new trees. And the village of Manlius will be maintaining them over the long haul here, the way they did before with the trees that were there. So we are so grateful, and I want to thank the co-chair of the Tree Commission, Stephanie Greshey, and Ellen McCoy, a member who helped on this grant, and Rob and Bartlett Tree Service and the all the other partners that will be acknowledged in the press release. But this is a big deal, and we know the shipment of trees is coming soon. And because of COVID, we're not going to have a big public event during the planting, but we're going to document it and encourage you to sort of watch their progress as we take pictures of them and watch them grow. But more to come, and another example of how we need to work together with each other to leverage what's possible. Thanks.
Very good, Heather. Did I mention that we had the new the new flagpole, that we have the Arbor Day flag on that now? Did I mention that? Now we're good to go with any additional flags that we want to put up. So nice job. I think the committee's done a tremendous job. I appreciate your staying on top of all of that. It's really, really important. John, you're
Thanks.
next. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so I've been working with Allison on a new social media policy, kind of to go along with the relaunch Facebook page, which, for everyone here, for everyone watching, if you could do us a favor and invite people to like the page, share it with folks. We're trying to transition as much of the followers over to the new one. I think as of tonight, we hit about 200. I just got the notification, so that's progress. But the social media policy, I know I sent it around to the board. Basically, this is just, to be honest, I cobbled this together from a bunch of different policies from towns of about our size with similar situations. So I'm hopeful that, we'll be able to discuss it and hopefully adopt it next week.
Okay.
And I've been working with Tim and Heather on the noise ordinance. I did a whole lot of scholarly reading on noise and noise ordinances. We seem to be right where we need to be. I'm hoping that we could schedule the public hearing next week. I think we're in a good spot, and I think it's time to hear from everybody, how they feel about that. And one of the other things we'll definitely want to focus on, in that time frame is, talking to the villages and making sure, that they are either on board to, hopefully pass something similar, or we can work out, a reasonable way to, blend all the different noise ordinances together and make it, at least reasonable for the police to handle, exactly, what do you do when there's a property that's on the line of the village and the town and stuff like that. But I do feel pretty good about that so far. And that's it.
Very good. Yeah, that's a very sensitive topic that I know that we'll consider the importance of getting that done as correctly and as right as we possibly can. Thank you, John. Elaine, do you have anything for us this evening?
I do. I just wanted to update everyone. The Public Safety Advisory Committee held an informational presentation by our police department last Thursday. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, it is on our Facebook page, the new one. So please check that out. It was so great to hear from our officers on different topics like hiring, training, and accreditations and more. And I really just want to thank Chief Kroll and all the officers that participated for putting that on for us. It was really great and excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elaine. Nice job with all of that too. And let's see here. So Caitlin, you're up next.
I just had to lock my cat in a bedroom because she was insisting on trying to rip my skin off this entire time. So that was the last straw when she drew blood. Every board meeting, they're like, this is the time.
You gotta do what you gotta do,
Yeah. So let's see. First and foremost, I work also, in addition to being on the town board, I'm on the board of the Greater Manlius Chamber of Commerce. And in coordination with the town, as a part of the listening session for the comprehensive planning element, the listening session for the economic element of comprehensive planning, we are doing a buy local campaign for November and December. And it's the hashtag for that is going to be shop. So it's me hashtag shop Greater Manlius. And we're featuring retail and I believe restaurants during that time to really encourage everyone in Manlius to shop local, to buy. We have so many great businesses throughout Manlius. If you live in Manoa, you might not come to the village of Manlius. And if you live in Fayetteville, you might not go anywhere. I don't know what people do. So this will give us an opportunity to highlight businesses around the town and to really draw attention to that. COVID has hit so many of these businesses so hard. And in a local economy, if you buy from a local business versus shopping on Amazon or shopping online anywhere, that the percentage differences between how much of that dollar stays local versus how much leaves the community is astounding. So if we want to really uplift and support our community, one of the easiest ways to do that is to shop at a local store. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you follow the Chamber's Facebook page and also on Instagram. So I'm on the social media committee, so we're getting that up and running, which will be great.
Very good. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Supervisor.
I was just going to say, now this is just me, but I've noticed a lot more coffee shops going in around the town, and
yeah,
pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Skytop Coffee in the village of Manlius, which is pretty new in the last few months, and I get all my beans from there now, and it's just so much more convenient. And I'm supporting a business with the people that I know, with them having moved in. I'm also on the economic development committee within the town. So it's like all these hats have come together in this really awesome way.
Yeah, we should recognize Spill the Tea and the newest
Yes.
edition in Manoa.
There's,
And also, yeah, and also for yoga there too. And also Cafe Soleil, right in the Village of Fayetteville, and Freedom of
Thank you.
Espresso. Wow. Yeah, we do. We have a great,
And Cafe
great offering.
12 opening up, and I'm sure there's more. If I didn't say your business, I'm sorry.
you can't go wrong in the town of Manlius when it comes to.
Yes. And there's so many cool jewelry stores and retail shops, and there's things there that you can find that you could never find online. So when you're doing your holiday shopping, or just going around town to pick up the things that you need, make sure you look at the chamber's website. They've got such a great list of businesses. And email me. I'm happy to talk to anyone if they're interested in participating in this project. Secondly, I do have a resolution this evening. As a part of the Climate Smart Communities Initiative, which we had passed on Earth Day to participate in that. One of the things that we didn't include in that resolution, but that gets us points in the way that they score the actions that we take, is designating a task force. So we have to create a task force of individuals that will execute on the Climate Smart Communities actions. And it turns out we already have a great one, and it's Sustainable Manlius. So no need to create a task force. We just have to designate Sustainable Manlius as the task force for Climate Smart Communities. Allison, is that good? Is that about it? So
And a resolution was provided to everybody earlier today, I think. So
yes, you
we
did get that in your email.
so we can just vote on that resolution.
Okay, so I'm not going to read it unless anyone has any questions on it.
No, we're good.
All right, so I'll make a motion to pass the resolution designating Sustainable Manlius as the Climate Smart Communities Task Force.
Very good.
No, second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carried. Very good, Caitlin. Excellent.
Thank you.
Right. And Sarah, you're up next.
Thank you. I wanted to thank Rob and Doug for their work on the public information meetings that we held last week with regard to stormwater management. We held one meeting for Drainage District 2 and a second meeting for Drainage District 3. Both of these were recorded, and the meetings are now on the website. So if you live in a drainage district, or you just discover when you read your tax bill that you lived in this drainage district, you can learn about the plans for stormwater management that are being developed in your area. And I think that was very much appreciated by the residents who did tune into that, because as was mentioned several times, people sort of don't really know what is happening that the town is doing on their behalf if we don't tell them. So that was very helpful. I also want to report that I went to the Association of Towns, put on a webinar on the responsibilities of the highway superintendent and on the liaison to the highway superintendent. So I now know what it is he's supposed to be doing. And I want to report to all of you that he's doing a lot more than what is actually required of his position.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it was helpful just to know some of the legal ins and outs of what's involved with that role. So I want to thank him and his department for all the work that they do.
Thanks, sir.
Very good, Sarah. Thank you. Is that it?
Mhm.
Okay. Rob, did you write that up for her? I'm just wondering. No.
No, I didn't actually. I didn't even talk to her. I knew she went, but she had a couple of good questions, and we
Yeah.
certainly had them answered for her, I hope.
Yeah, I know. No, that's great. That's
You know me, I certainly will, if any of the board members have any questions. It's unfortunate, but the laws change so often with highway law too. So as Tim knows, I mean, things change every year, you know what I mean?
That's one thing I'll say about our department heads. And I mean, they really, all of them go above and beyond just what their duties are stated to be, and I don't want to leave anybody else, so I won't mention. I'm just gonna say all the departments, they're all great, and I appreciate that. Karen, you're up next.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to revisit the part-time position in the receiver tax office. And I'd certainly like to again ask the board for their support for this part-time position. This has been vacant for well over a year, is urgently needed. And Lori does have a candidate who is ready to start ASAP. And what we need to do is approve the rate. So Sarah, I know you've met with Lori and I think you have all your questions answered. So I would like to make a motion that the rate per hour for this part-time position in the Receiver of Tax Office is $16 an hour up to 6 months. And then this would start immediately. Training does need to be in place before the next tax session starts. And as you are all aware, I'm sure, what takes place in that tax office.
Yes, I do. So that's the motion?
I'm going
Correct.
to second that motion.
Okay.
And I'd like to amend it just to say that because this is a part-time position, there is not a benefit package as well. So we're really just the rate is what we're approving.
Correct.
Very good, Sarah, for clarifying that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carried. Very good. Thank you, Karen.
And then now, one other thing, last Saturday, again, our recreation department did an unbelievable job with Wicked Woods. This has been an unbelievable event since the first year it started. And it is a collaborative effort with the village of Fayetteville and Green Lakes State Park. But this year, because the residents couldn't get through by walking, Peggy and the committee put together a drive-through that went on for miles, was spectacular. And I know Peggy, and again, her committee is very grateful for what our town of Manlius Police Department did to facilitate that traffic going through. So again, congratulations to all of them, and thank you to the town of Manlius Police Department for keeping everyone safe. And what a great event in our town.
Thank you, Karen. I know I was getting texts from my daughter and son-in-law who were up there with the grandkids, and every inch along the way. and they got scared.
Very creative.
Scared a little bit. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a scary night.
The people who we went, it was so much fun. And frankly, really, we were so grateful to have something like this to be able to do that was intergenerational. So my aunt and my cousin and Riley and a good friend of his went, and we inched along and listened to our Halloween playlist before we got into the actual campground. And I mean, wasn't it amazing? These campers, people that were willing to decorate, were so creative. They had the whole Beetlejuice movie soundtrack, and people were dressed in costume, not just decorating their campgrounds, but people were entertaining along the way. And it was so spirited and fun. And they also, I didn't realize, Karen, that people could give individual contributions, but maybe we could set up some sort of system where people can PayPal or do a digital contribution to the food bank or something, a link that's special just for the event or something.
Right. Well, the entry was a donation of a food item.
Exactly.
All over 1,500 pounds was donated, as well as I think almost $500 in cash.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
The food bank certainly benefits as well.
Yeah, that's exciting. All right. Well, with that, I think before we go into executive session, well, two things. Well, first one, Halloween. Everyone, please be safe out there and wear reflective clothes if you're out there doing this thing. And lastly, of course, just a reminder, if you haven't already, please exercise your right to vote on November 3rd. It's right around the corner, finally.
And also early voting, Supervisor. You can go vote.
Doing a lot of that
Go
already.
vote anytime between now and Election Day with the exception of Monday. Is that accurate?
I think so, yeah. So with that, I need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried?
Okay, so we'll go into executive session
Thank you.
and you all have the number for that. And then once we're done with executive session, we'll come back on to Zoom, onto this platform, the virtual platform. And if there's any motions to be made, we'll make them in open session.
Yeah.
And then we can adjourn the meeting. But I think everybody should shut off their
Video.
picture and their,
The video.
Where is the number, Tim?
I sent it earlier today.
Earlier today.
It's in an email I sent earlier today.
Oh, there we go.
You want me to forward it to you?
Yeah, I don't see it here. If you could send it again.
Thanks, Tim. I didn't have it either.
You didn't have it either?
No, thank you.
All right.
Ed isn't muted. So could someone tell
mute?
Ed to mute? No,
Sorry.
yeah, you gotta mute.
We should have a slideshow or like informational, PowerPoint going, share screen when we're in executive session, right?
People can just watch it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm impressed that Allison has the sign on the Facebook thing. That's very nice.
Oh, no, I didn't, well, I tried that. I can't seem to do Facebook and this at the same time. I don't know, something wrong with
I
that.
do it on a different machine. I can't do it on.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, I tried to do it on my phone. It doesn't seem to want to work.
Well, you stop my video.
My house is absolutely freezing.
Is everyone back? I think we're good. So, we need a motion.
So I will make a motion to settle, how do you say it, Tex Centauri of case zero,
Certiorari case.
Sorori, case 00406 / 2020.
I think that was Karen seconded. I heard her in the other room. Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed and carried. All right, unless there's anything else, I need a motion to adjourn.
So, Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening.
Okay, Caitlin.
I think Karen was trying to do that too, so maybe she seconds it.
Second, okay, Karen seconded. All right, again, I heard her, so.
I can see her. Mhm.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Carried. All right, new record time, gang. Good job. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.